listening to The Sports Nuts.
Great to be able to hire somebody who has such a tremendous winning track record and won everywhere he's been, and so it gives us great confidence to welcome Mike. And so I am happy to introduce Mike McCarthy, the next head coach of the Pittsburgh.
All right, everybody, that was the introduction of Art Rooney II, introducing new head coach Mike McCarthy as the new coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner Show. My name is Ralph Williams. Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of Sports Corner Show every single Tuesday, 4 to 5 p.m. here on the Sports Nuts Network, YouTube, Facebook, and the Twitter X platforms. And also, we are simulcasted on radio stations across the country, 95.5 KFCE in Terrell, Texas, thetigernation.com, Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, 93.3 KGR in Seattle. Also, aloha to our Hawaiian friends on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, and also 107.5 The Ticket in Montgomery, Alabama. Also, we are on the in Albuquerque, New Mexico, on AM 610 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and 105.5 The Roar in Easley, South Carolina, and WGR in Buffalo, New York. And I want to thank all of our folks across around the world: Africa, Australia, China, Russia, several countries across the world. We are also simulcasted there as well. And I want to welcome everyone today. We have a big show for you today. I brought back Mike Sisak from Amped Up Sports. He's going to talk with us today about the hiring of Mike McCarthy of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who was hired on Saturday. Today they held the press conference, as you just heard. Art Rooney II introduced him. And we're going to have some tidbits from that press conference. Later on today at 4:30, the return of Jerry DePaula, former writer for the Trib.com and also for the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. And he will be joining us to also talk about that. Pitt's new schedule has been released. And where do you see the schedule? Some top names of coaches that will be involved involved in Pitt's schedule this year. Where do you hear that? That's coming up as well. Lots to talk about. Lots to get to today. And right now we're going to go to Smokin Jim Frazier, our host, our co-host. Smokin Jim, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one, buddy.
All righty. And let me get this going here real quick, and then we'll get to our comments section here, which is here right now. All right. And coming up by phone, Mike Sisak. If you look at the bottom ticker tape, his name is right there. He's from Amped Up Sports. He'll be joining us shortly. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios here at Studio 10 in Berlin, Maryland. 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, Western Pennsylvania's #1 heating and air conditioning company. Look, I know winter's here now. Your furnace is important. Get it fixed. Snow melt also, and UV lighting, very important. Call Mata today, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Also, we're sponsored by Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland, 410-596-1681. Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland. I also want to thank Brandon Keeler for letting us put our broadcast here of the Sports Corner Show on his network, the Sports Nuts Network. Don't forget to tune into them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the show with Brandon Keeler, Shane Owen, and Matt Thomas, and also contributors Pensman Sports and Brian Pettit from the Tiger Stripes Media. Also, today, Mike Sisak is brought to you in part by American Income Insurance Group. Call American Income Insurance today and ask for Tyler Terry, 814-592-06 They fall under the umbrella of Globe Life Insurance. And let me tell you something, life insurance is very important. Don't get burned. Get life insurance for you and your family. And the affordable rates. And also, Tyler will work within your budget. Call Tyler Terry, 814-592-0601. American Income Life Insurance. All right. Okay, let's get started with our show today. But first, I want to give my rant. Smokin Jim and I are going to do our thing, and then we'll get to Mike Sisak here on the phone here shortly. Smokin Jim, go ahead with your wisdom. Smokin Jim's wisdom. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Ralph, for finally bringing the West Coast offense to the East Coast. So I'm very excited about that.
Yes,
Hey,
indeed.
I was the first one that recommended the Pittsburgh Steelers hire Mike McCarthy. I thought it made perfect sense. Listen, ever since 1969, which is 57 straight years, the three coaches were defensive coaches. Mike McCarthy is an offensive coach. I think that's going to bring joy to the fans. They're going to upgrade that offense. It's going to be a high-flying, fun offense to watch. And I just think that the hire of Mike was a great deal.
Yeah, I thought so as well. And I agree with you 100%, Smokin Jim, because it makes a lot of sense to have a guy like Mike McCarthy with the experience he has. And everybody was complaining about age, but who cares? Mike McCarthy's experience, his coaching tree, which he has one, unlike some other coach who didn't have one, but this one does. And I'm satisfied with Mike McCarthy being here as well. My rant today is this. All you people out there since Saturday cried like a bunch of babies. Mike McCarthy's here. I don't want Mike McCarthy. I wanted Krishula. I wanted the pass game coordinator for the Rams. I wanted a young coach. Mike McCarthy's too old. And then you watched the press conference today, and what did you do? You changed your mind. Typical Pittsburgh Steeler fans, huh? How about that? Now, all of a sudden, you love Mike McCarthy. All right, but on Saturday, you were burning up the phones of all my media colleagues. You were burning up our comment section about how he's old, burning up my emails about you don't know what you're talking about, guys. Well, Smokin Jim and I know what we're talking about because we've been doing this for a long time. And Mike McCarthy's the perfect fit right now for the Steelers. All right, that was my rant here. All right, let's get to our guest by phone here, Mike Sisak from Amped Up Sports. Mike, welcome to the program. It's great to have you on board today once again. Thank you for coming back. There's been some things have changed since you were on the show. The Ravens now have a head coach, Jesse Minter. You cover the Ravens for Amped Up Sports, and also the Pittsburgh Steelers have a new coach. So pretty much the AFC North, except for Cleveland, as Eddie Murphy would say in Beverly Hills Cop. With the exception of Cleveland, this is the worst warehouse. Well, anyway, with the exception of Cleveland, they do not have a head coach. So, Mike, welcome to the program.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen?
Great. How are you? And Mike, go ahead, get started. First, we'll start with your thoughts on Mike McCarthy and the Pittsburgh being hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think it's practical. If I had to sum it up in one word, it would be practical. It makes sense. He is an experienced head coach. He has won a Super Bowl before. He has a track record, most importantly, of developing quarterbacks, which is something that the Pittsburgh Steelers very much need. This is a hire that speaks to me that we don't want to throw out everything that Mike Tomlin did. We don't want to throw out all the standards. We don't want to throw out all the expectations, but we know that we need to make a change. Now, is Mike McCarthy going to be there for the long term? 62 years old. He'll probably be there 7, maybe 8 years at the most. But in that time, I think he has an opportunity to oversee a transition, and that's what he was brought in to do. This, to me, is a practical hire. It's a transition hire. It's a chance to, have somebody in between what had been 60 years of status quo and moving on into the 21st century NFL.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I agree with this. This was thinking outside the box. normally, just like you would say, if you would say this was not your dad's car, this was not your dad's team anymore, so now it's your team. And Art the second thought that maybe perhaps it's time to think outside the box and hire a guy like Mike McCarthy, who's an offensive mind with a West Coast offense. Everybody's crying about that too. We don't have the talent. You know what? The man.
I mean, you don't know that you have the talent.
You don't know. I mean, you got all these people out here that are just crying like babe whiners, man. I mean, typical Steeler fans. So
I don't know that they don't have the talent. I know that they don't have a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback. Well, yeah,
that's been an issue for a season now.
Yes.
Mike McCarthy may be able to persuade Aaron Rodgers to stay, which would not be the worst thing because it's not like there's not a lot of options out there.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers could serve as a bridge quarterback, which is something that they need.
Yes.
And I think this gives the Steelers a chance to get younger, which is something they drastically need.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to have if you're going to bring in another coach, and Mike McCarthy, as you said, he does have a coaching tree. There may be somebody who ends up on his staff that can take over after he steps down and be that next 15, 20-year head coach that Steelers fans love.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to comment section and we'll get to Smokin' Jim real quick here. Freddie checking in. First, Iris checking in. Let me see here. Jacob checking in. Jean Mercedes checking in. Thank you, everyone, for checking in here today. Who else we got here? Aiden checking in. We also got, let me see who's here. Steve from the south side of Pittsburgh, which is snow covered. The south side of Pittsburgh. He says, enjoying the show today. Thank you. And Steve, thank you as well. We enjoy your comments. Smokin' Jim Frazier, go ahead. You have any questions for Mike?
Hey, Mike. Great comments earlier, man. But Mike McCarthy is going to stick with the traditional Pittsburgh Steelers 3-4 defense. Do you agree with that, or do you think the Steelers should go to another scheme?
I kind of think that's the way. That's part of the identity of the Steelers. I don't know that if you're Mike McCarthy and you're primarily an offensive guy, you want to come in and all of a sudden switch everything up. Number one. Number two, you have a veteran defense that is set to play that particular formation. So changing, and I know it sounds simple, but sometimes changing from a 3-4 to a 4-3 is a lot more complicated than people in the stands realize. This is a type of defense that they've been playing for a generation or more. So I would think that it makes sense right now to stay with the 3-4. You're actually seeing more and more teams go to a 3-4 from a 4-3. So the Steelers have always kind of been ahead of the game when it comes to defense. I wouldn't mess with that too much. That's been a strong point for the team. I think modernizing the offense is a good move, and that's what he's been brought in to do. But like I said, I don't know that you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Yeah, right.
And
exactly. Yeah.
go through and change everything about the identity of the team.
Right.
Not everything's broken.
No, you can't blow it up, Mike. I mean, that's a simple fact.
But you don't need to blow it up.
No, you don't need to blow it up. Exactly.
That has gone to the playoffs. They've had double-digit win seasons. They've had success, even with Mike Tomlin. You don't need to blow everything up just because Mike Tomlin left. Just because doesn't mean that everything that he had going on was wrong. And I would have been shocked if they went through and said, you know what, now all of a sudden, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a, Cliff Kingsbury run and shoot spread option offense.
Jack Party's run and shoot. Yeah, there you go.
You know what we're going to play? We're going to play a 4-2 We're going to play a 4-2 nickel as our base formation.
Right.
And all this sort of stuff. We don't need to just undo every part of the last 20 years.
Right, exactly.
It's about adjustment, not overhaul.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, adjustments. It's like a car. that that's sputtering a little bit, needs some fine tuning. That's what this team needs, fine tuning. So, all right, guys, let's move on here. Mike, you also cover the Baltimore Ravens. What's the story with Jesse Minter being the head coach? Was this planned on going in this direction? Your thoughts on Jesse Minter?
I know that Jesse Minter was one of the guys that they looked very closely at. He has ties to the Steelers, or to the Ravens. He was on the staff before going out to spend a couple of years as the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. So
Right.
here's another guy who has ties to the organization. He understands how the organization works. He understands the people in the front office. He understands the culture of the organization. He gets Steve Bisciotti. Whether he was the odds-on candidate, whether he was the top guy coming in, is really, it doesn't matter. He's the guy who they felt most comfortable with bringing in. I am a little surprised that they went defensive. I thought that they might go offensive because of the relationship with Lamar Jackson right now means so much.
Right.
But it's going to be, as I've said on other outlets, the offensive defensive thing doesn't really matter. You get the best person in for the job.
Right.
They felt like he had the best understanding of the organization. He had the best vision for the culture, the one that most aligned with what they were looking for. So he is the guy who ultimately gets the job. It's going to be about now hiring the coaching staff around him that can help and get the most out of Lamar Jackson and keep him happy.
Yeah.
Because they've got to get him to sign a new contract after this season. He has a $71 million cap hit for next season.
Jeez.
That they're going to need to.
Well, that's a big cap hit, huh?
Yeah, they're going to need to do something about this.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to do something about that. Is right.
So, I know, like, if you want to read ESPN and here are the wild predictions that we think could happen, and one of them was that they trade Lamar Jackson to the Raiders. He has a full no trade clause, so unless he demands to be traded, he's not going anywhere. They have a $71 million cap hit, so even if they did this, they'd have to spread it out over. It'd have to be a post June 1st designation, which would mean that they couldn't complete the trade prior to the NFL draft, which would mean that the Ravens wouldn't have a quarterback. I just don't see that happening, which means, as we said, these guys are basically married for the short term, and they got to figure out a way to make this relationship work. So Jesse Minter is going to have to work with Lamar Jackson, who is on the best of days, mercurial, I think would be the best word to describe him. He's his own person, and he is a different sort of cat.
I see. All right. Do you have any questions for Mike there, Smokin' Jim, about the Ravens before we move on with Jerry, who will be coming up shortly?
Yeah, just real quick. I think that the only thing I like about the hire is that Jesse's dad, Rick Mentor, was a head football coach for years for Cincinnati. So he comes from a football background. I agree with you about Lamar Jackson. Just one quick question. Do you think the Ravens would have won another Super Bowl had they stuck with Joe Flacco instead of Lamar Jackson?
Given the way that Joe Flacco looked after he won the Super Bowl, my answer is going to be probably not. That just didn't look like it was working. Now, I think the bigger question would be, should they have won? I think everybody can agree that they probably should have been in a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, and that was the ultimate undoing of John Harbaugh, was the fact that they didn't have more success after they drafted Lamar Jackson. I think they got a little bit surprised that he turned out to be as good as he was, so they wasted a couple of years in his prime. But some of these self-inflicted wounds over the last couple of years, where they've actually probably been set up to go to a Super Bowl and win, have been tough.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you can sit here and say that the Ravens, when they're playing at their best, are objectively that much worse than a team like the Patriots. The big difference was the Patriots had health this year, and when it mattered most, the Patriots were able to execute in a way that the Ravens weren't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mike, thank you for being part of the program today. I really appreciate you coming back and being on, talking with us about the Ravens and the Steelers. And we'll have you come back on as the season starts, because you also cover the Commanders, and we'll get into what's going on with the Commanders as well at our beginning football season show. It'll be a 2-hour special where we'll talk about all the NFL teams. So thanks, Mike. Amped Up Sports, Mike Sisak. Check him out. Mike was brought to you today by American Income Life Insurance. Call them today. Call Tyler Terry. Tyler Terry will set you up with a budget, a policy for your budget, and life insurance, very important. Call him today, 814-592-0601. Tyler Terry, American Income Insurance, Life Insurance. Tell him Ralph Williams sent you. All right. Smokin, Jim, your thoughts on what Mike had to say, and then we got our good friend Jerry DePaula here, who we haven't spoken with for a while, and I'm bringing him up shortly. Go ahead. What's your thoughts?
Another home run by Mike. He hits it out of the park every time.
Yes, he does. Absolutely. Yes, he does. All right. Our next guest is here, and he's in our waiting room, and I'm bringing him up right now. Jerry DePaula. Wow, long time no talk to. How are you, man?
Hi, Ralph. How are you? How you doing, Smokin' Jim?
Smokin' Jim Frazier. Say hello to Jerry.
Hey, Jerry. Always good to hear your voice, brother.
Good to hear your voice too. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. How are you, man? It's good to have you. I hear you're retired now from the Tribune Review, and
last April.
Last April, and then I heard that you're doing some podcasts. I saw you on one with John Phillips. Send my regards to him. And he calls me crazy for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not that crazy.
You're pretty normal to me, Ralph.
I know, yeah, but he calls me crazy. I don't know why, but he does. So anyway,
crazy. But we also do one. I do one called Sports Talk on Our Time with my colleague from the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, Frank Verdecchia. We're both former employees of the Trib. And when I retired, Frank said to me, "Let's do a podcast." And we've been doing it regularly. I think.
Yeah, I watched it. You guys do a real good job. Thank you.
34 in a row since last June. So
wow,
we're really enjoying it.
That's crazy.
Every Monday.
All right, thank you. And also, Jerry, now we're part of the Sports Nuts Network. We're simulcasted from several radio stations across the country and around the world. And also, you can catch Sports Corner radio show every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. on 1250 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial, with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin', Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. And I have some information for you as well. Sports Corner will be on Sundays at 5 p.m. starting February 8th on 620 a.m. WKHB, 5 p.m. Sunday, and 2 p.m. Saturday on 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. Check out the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin', Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. What a group we have. We got a lot to talk about this week. Our guest this Saturday is Mike McSorley, local boxing promoter, and we're going to dissect the Mike McCarthy hire, and we're going to talk about some teams that still don't have a head coach. But today, Joe Brady was bumped up from offensive coordinator in Buffalo to the head coaching job. Congratulations to Joe Brady. He is now the head coach at Buffalo. And now we're down to Cleveland, Arizona, and the Raiders, who don't have head coaches right now. Jerry, your thoughts. Sir. Mike McCarthy, I played the beginning of the press conference and the introduction from Art II. What is your thoughts on this hire?
Well, very interesting. I thought I watched the whole thing, and I thought it was a kind of a nice touch that he sort of teared up a little bit at the beginning of the news conference.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
growing up a Steelers fan, being born at Mercy Hospital, and a lifelong fan of the Steelers, and now he's their head coach. But he has a very difficult job. I mean, there is no honeymoon period. Usually there's a honeymoon period when you get a new coach hired. There won't be one for Mike McCarthy, because number one, he's been head coach for 18 years in the NFL. So it's not like he's a new guy and we expect him to dip his toe in the water and see how it is. He has to jump in with both feet and start running. And he has to find a quarterback right off the bat. And I really believe, and I think it's been said by a lot of different people, including Art Rooney and Omar Khan, that one of the reasons they hired McCarthy is his ability to identify and develop quarterbacks. And people say the Steelers need a second wide receiver, and they sure do. But they need a quarterback much worse. And the question was asked by my former colleague in the Trib, Tim Benz, second question of the news conference, about his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, whether he wants him back or not. And McCarthy said,
I saw that. I heard it.
Why? Yeah. Now that's interesting because things didn't end well for Rodgers. Had some moments during the season where I thought he was pretty good, but the Houston Texans playoff game was not one of those moments. And he looked old. He looked like he wanted out. He looked like he didn't want to get hit. To have him go through another season at the age of almost 43, I guess his birthday's in December. I just don't see it happening. But you know what? What is McCarthy going to say? He's not going to come out and say we don't want Aaron because they have a good relationship and he's spoken with them. Maybe Aaron hasn't made up his mind yet. But I think when push comes to shove, somebody else is going to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers on day one this year.
Yeah, it's going to be somebody. What the question is who? And I have confidence in the fact. And Smokin Jim and I went on Smokin Jim's wagon. He said that he wanted Mike McCarthy, and I agreed with him on that because I believe the experience and he has, and this is important, Jerry, a coaching tree. He has guys he can bring in here that are really good that can be good coordinators and coaches, like guys up in the booth that Mike McCarthy doesn't have to worry about looking at the scoreboard. When Mike McCarthy throws the red flag, you win it. That kind of thing. He has the smarts of coaching. He's a really good coach, and I'm glad I like this hire because I think the Steelers were not confident in some of those younger guys that they really wanted to look at, and I think down the road they will look at that maybe 5 years down the road, but who knows? We'll see what we get out of Mike McCarthy. I think we're going to get there's going to be a lot of good here in this hire.
The inability for Mike Tomlin to hire good assistants was his downfall, I thought, Ralph. His staff was not very good. None of those guys got big jobs. I guess special teams coach Danny Smith got a job in Tampa, but nobody from his tree ever became a head coach, to my knowledge. No,
they all went to college. I remember when Adrian Clem was the offensive line coach. He went to Oregon. I mean,
right.
Now Arthur Smith is at Ohio State, so these guys are they're not. And Arthur Smith will never be another NFL head coach. He was terrible in Atlanta.
Probably not. But I mean, I think that McCarthy has the ties. He has the know-how. He has a big, thick Rolodex, and he even made that point today at the news conference that the last 42 to 78 hours, that's all he's been doing is getting ready to get his staff hired. And I think he'll probably get it hired. Today's Tuesday. I'll bet he'll get several guys in place by the end of the week and early next week.
Yeah, he has to move. You got the Senior Bowl coming up, the Combine. You got a few things coming, right? Yeah, that he's got to have to get moving. Smokin Jim Frazier. Any comments for Jerry or anything you want to add? Go ahead.
Hey man, I'm a big fan, Jerry. Just listening to you, man. You're laying it out. But were you surprised that Mike McCarthy decided to stick with the 3-4 defense? Jerry, would you have stuck with the 3-4? Would you try a different scheme?
Well, I think the personnel on the team right now, and Mark McCarthy is smart enough to know this, the personnel on the team is built for a 3-4 defense. If somewhere down the road, after, some players retire, maybe after TJ Watt is gone and some other things happen, maybe it depends on who his defensive coordinator is going to be too. But I think he wanted to keep the status quo on defense, at least as far as the alignment goes and the way he's going to structure things, the same thing. That doesn't mean that the Steelers defense has been great, over the last couple of years of Mike Tomlin. It certainly hasn't.
Right.
And I think the biggest problem is they're not getting any this past year anyway. They didn't get enough production out of TJ Watt. And the second thing is their secondary. Other than Joey Porter Jr., I don't think their secondary was very good at all this past year. A couple guys are older. A couple guys are retreads. I think that's number 2 or number 3 priority in the draft for the Steelers this year is safety, the safety position, and maybe another cornerback. So yeah, I think I wasn't surprised he kept the 3-4 because that's the way the team is structured. He doesn't want to rip that apart right away. But down the road, who knows? Depends what kind of players they bring in over the next couple years.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. We just did the Mike McCarthy thing. A few other things I want to talk with you about today, Jerry, while I have you. Pensman Sports says, hey, Ralph, how are you? Pensman, part of the Sports Nuts Network as well. Check out all his stuff. He does some live streaming of games, and he's a big Michigan fan. Also, he does Penguins hockey, some great shorts. Now he's into UFC. So the Sports Nuts Network here, we're all going to be getting into some different things. Starting in February, I'm going to be putting out more material. So I just want to let everyone know that as well. All right. Also, Steven here from the South Side, Jerry, the South Side. He says, what do you think about the Pirates trading Skeens for some young players? Jerry, what are your thoughts on it? I don't think they're going to trade Skeens.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, Ralph. Why would you trade the best pitcher in baseball?
Right.
First of all, you're never going to get back an equal return for the best pitcher in baseball. Second of all, you got him under control for at least 2 more seasons. Let him pitch in 26 and 27 and see what happens in 28 if you want to trade him, then maybe if he becomes too expensive. But
right.
No, you don't trade a guy like that who the fans come out to see. I mean, the night he pitches, the nights he pitches, people come out to the games. I mean, you got a midweek.
Sell out, man. I mean, that's their revenue is right there.
Games in July when the team is out of contention, or in August when the team's out of contention and Skeens is pitching, people still come out to the game because and he has a great attitude in the way he carries himself. He's a great ambassador, for the team. In a good leader, even as a young guy, a very good leader. Now with McCutcheon probably leaving the team, he'll become the face of the franchise. And to trade him, I don't know what you could get for him. But you certainly couldn't get an equal return. And I think that there's no way this year or next that they'll trade Paul Skeens.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% on that. Tiger Stripes Media, Brian Pett is also part of the Sports Nuts Network. He does NASCAR. He does a whole bunch of live streaming of different events and things going on as well. He's a contributor to the Sports Nuts Show, which is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Brandon Keeler and with Shane and Matt Thomas. So Shane Owen and Matt Thomas. So tune into that. Steven says it's not funny. It says because the fact that when you look at the Pirates owner spending tendencies there, Jerry. So, Steve from the South Side there, so let's see what else we got. Could they be a little like the Marlins, like how the Marlins were, go out and buy a whole bunch of players when Jim Leland was managing them and go out and buy a whole bunch of players and get
doing that this offseason, Ralph? Aren't they bringing in, some bad
guys?
They
did. They brought some guys in. Yeah. They brought some pitchers in. The Pirates need to play the Rays, Marlins, and the Reds type of baseball. Yes, they do. And I think I really believe it's Jerry, and I wanted to talk with you also about some of these some other things going on. We haven't dived into these things because of the Steelers head coaching thing, and that's been the big talk of the town. What do you think the Pirates will do this year? I think they're not going to do too bad. They got some free agents they signed. And we're going into spring training, and we're going to bring in some non-roster invitees that might make the team. What do you think they're going to do this year? You think they're going to improve from last year?
I think they'll improve a little bit. I
still think Philly's going to have one full year now. So
they got O'Hearn, and they signed some other guys and brought in some new people. Maybe get a little more home run power into the lineup. But I'm not sure they're going to be a contender because they still don't have the depth right now. The depth in the starting pitching just isn't there like it used to be. They traded Burrows and he's gone. They got rid of some other pitchers over the past couple years, and I think they need another starting pitcher. They need a third baseman. Maybe they'll win 80 games. I'm not sure they're a playoff team, but who knows? I mean, Jared Jones is coming back, but I'm not sure he's going to be ready to go to the start of the season. So I think that the bullpen's okay, but I'm not sure that this is a team that is destined for the playoffs. We'll see what happens, but I think Ben Cherington might have one or two more moves up his sleeve before we get to playing the Mets in the opener at the end of March.
All right. Steven says it's football is king. And he also says maybe someday I'll let him come on the show and be a guest. Maybe so, Steve. We'll see. So, anything can happen here. Smokin' Jim, any your thoughts on the Pirates and pitchers and catchers report coming up soon?
No, sir.
All right. He has no comment about the Pirates. There you go.
That's smart, Smokin' Jim.
Yeah.
Talk yourself into a corner.
I know. Yeah. All right. Next, the Penguins, Jerry. Dan Muse, the new coach. I think they're doing pretty good with. I like his defensive system, and I like what they're doing right now. They're doing the roller coaster thing like they have in the past. But I like what's happening. I'm glad they got rid of Tristan Jarry, and now they got some different goaltenders, different system, younger players, faster players a little bit. Carlson's blending into everything. And Malkin's last year, Crosby's moving along. What your thoughts on the Penguins this year?
Well, there's a lot of negativity surrounding the franchise coming into this season.
Yeah, I know.
Coach, a lot of young players. They have an 18-year
new ownership coming.
Yeah, an 18-year-old guy is playing a prominent role. But they're winning games. They're staying in contention for a playoff spot. I'm not saying they're going to make a long run in the playoffs, but they have a good chance to make the playoffs. They're just coming off a pretty good trip through Western Canada. When they beat Tristan Jarry up in Edmonton.
Man, they scored 6-7 goals on him.
Yeah. So, I think Dan Muse is doing a good job. And I think that it was this end of January. Still got February, March to go. And they're going to have to sustain this little spurt of success. And it's not going to be easy because their roster isn't the greatest. But you got to give Muse credit. For putting this team together and getting them looking like a playoff team.
Yes, I like what I see here. All right, let's get into Super Bowl. Seattle versus New England. We'll start with you, Smokin' Jim. Your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I wanted to ask Jerry one more question about
the Penguins. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They're super hot right now. Do you think that the Olympic break will hurt them or will help them in the long run?
Well, every team's going to have the Olympic break, and I don't think that's going to be a big thing. Yeah, it might be good for some older players, like Crosby and Malkin, who although I guess Crosby will be playing. Maybe is Malkin playing in the Olympics? I know Crosby is.
Yeah, I think Malkin's been hurt most of the season, so I don't know.
Getting Malkin healthy over the Olympic break might be good. Crosby, of course, will be playing. For Team Canada. But I don't think it's going to hurt. I mean, they do this every 4 years, and I think these guys are used to it. And, they don't have all that much momentum that they're going to lose it because they've been, like a 500 team anyway. So I don't think they're, they'll stop the games in the middle of a big winning streak or anything like that. So I think they'll be fine. I think that these guys are professional veteran players, a lot of them, and they'll get used to it, and a lot of them will like to break.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get started with the Super Bowl. Seattle versus New England. Jerry, what do you think of this game?
I'm thinking about it a little bit, Ralph, and I really believe that Seattle is the team here. I don't know what the point spread is. What is it, 4.5, 5 points maybe?
Yes. Yeah.
Like that. I'd almost be willing to take the Seahawks, because I think they got a great defense. I like the way Kenneth Walker runs. I mean, he really had a good game in the NFC Championship game. He's a hard runner, a tough runner, and a guy that makes yards after contact. And like I said, their defense is really good. So in New England, to me, I'm not saying they're underachieving, but Drake May is a good young quarterback. It's only in his second year. They don't have I don't think their roster is on the same level as Seattle's. And I'm not saying this game is going to be a blowout, but I kind of think that it's going to be the kind of game that the Seattle will get up early and hang on and win between 10 and 14 points.
All right. Smokin' Jim, Super Bowl, Seattle versus New England. Go ahead.
I hate to say it, Jerry, but this is the stairway to 7, baby. New England Patriots.
They would pass the Steelers, right? If they win more Super Bowl champions than the Steelers, is that right?
Yeah.
Hey, Hey, big time players make big time plays in big time games. In my opinion, the NFL MVP is May, and he's going to have a great game. And he got a few weapons to throw to. And I tell you what, I don't think Cardi B is going to let them lose.
Well, Smokin' Jim, I have a lot of respect for you and your opinions, but you're wrong. The NFL MVP this year is Matthew Stafford.
There you go.
Guess who beat Matthew Stafford the other day? Sam Darnold in the Seahawks.
Sam Darnold,
So,
yeah.
I really think, New England's a good team, and Mike Vrabel's done a great job, with them, bringing them away 4-13 or 4-12 not too long ago.
Were, yes.
Yeah,
they were.
2 years
They
ago.
were a dumpster fire there for a little while. They had,
and he's done a great job. And Drake May is a great quarterback, but I think Stafford's a better quarterback, and he lost to Seattle.
Well, the smartest thing Mike Vrabel did, Jerry, was he brought in Josh McDaniel, which of course, he's a good offensive coordinator.
Probably the best OC in the league, yeah.
When he's a head coach, I call him Josh McDummo because he makes dumb decisions as a head coach. But he's a good offensive coordinator. I mean, and I'm glad that Mike Vrabel was smart enough to bring him in instead of Arthur Smith. So there you go.
One step ahead of New England, and Drake May is still a young guy. He still makes mistakes. He wasn't that great in the AFC Championship game. You really can't tell because that game was so affected by the weather.
How about Minnesota? They got egg on their face because they got rid of Darnold and then went with J.J. McCarthy, and then McCarthy soiled the bed. So how do you like that one?
Well, three teams got rid of Darnold: the Jets and the Panthers. And now Darnold is going back to play against a team when he was with the Jets, where he said he was seeing ghosts. Remember that game where
exactly.
He put a great pass rush on him, and he came off the field saying, "I'm seeing ghosts." And
that's right.
Now he's going to play against the Patriots again. Now, those ghosts are all gone. It's a brand new team, but Darnold is a much better quarterback than he was when he first came out of college.
All right. Our guest is Jerry DePaula, formerly of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. He also says he's involved in 2 podcasts. Jerry, talk about your podcast you do with your colleague from the Tribune Review.
Yeah, Frank Verdicchio and I. Frank and I worked at the Pittsburgh Trib together for many years, and he was a copy desk writer, and I was a high school sports editor for a while, and then I started covering Pitt athletics, and Frank and I have always been good friends. And when I retired, we had at my retirement party. I think Frank and I might have had too many pops in us at one time at the party, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey Jerry, how about now that you're retired and you have all this time on your hands? How about we start our own podcast?" I said, "You're out of your mind." And he said, "No, I'm not. Let's do it." So that was in May last year.
Right.
And a month later, we started up in June. And now we do it every Monday. It's called Sports Talk on our time. You can get it on YouTube for free. Yes. You can get it on Facebook. Sometimes I put it on Twitter. The last 3 we've done 3 in the past week. We've gotten over almost 4,000 hits total.
Wow, that's great. That is
3 different podcasts. We had Chris Adamski, the Trib Steeler beat writer, on twice, and then we had Joe Starkey on yesterday.
I got to do the Chris Adamski smile.
I got the hat on. I got Chris.
I forgot the hat though. Yeah, I got to wear one of my Kango hats. The imitating.
We had Joe Starkey on. He's also back at the Trib now. Joe.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, I heard that. That's great. Good for Joe, man.
And it's got good. Back with it in the Trib family, and of course he does a talk show on 93.7 The Fan from 10 to 2 every Monday through Friday. So
yes, he does.
So we got some good guests on, and we've done a good job over we had Pat Bostic on at one point. Kevin Gorman's going to be on.
Hey Jerry, let me ask you a question. I want you to ask Pat Bostic this question. I haven't been able to do it. All right. Why can't Pat Bostic, he's part of the athletic department. He's one of the athletic directors, correct? Yes, am I right on this?
He had a high-profile job in the athletic department, yes.
Right. Well, he sees what goes on in these games with this officiating. Why can't he put a bug in Alan Green's ear? Why can't they go down to Charlotte and talk to somebody down there that's the head of officiating in the ACC and stop some of this nonsense with this officiating? No. I'm serious now. Really.
Officiating in the ACC hasn't been great, and I think the officiating in college football, generally is much good these days. But I tell you what, between Alan Green and Pat Bostic, they have bigger fish to fry than the the officials in football games, because they got to find a way to navigate this NIL business and come up with money to pay these kids so they don't lose. They lost Rasheem Biles this year.
I know. They lost Biles to Texas, and then they lost
Kenny Johnson, wide receiver with Texas Tech.
He went to Tech. I didn't know
Kenny Johnson went to Texas Tech. Yeah, they kept the quarterback, which is good. I think Mason Hikes is going to be a good quarterback for Pitt. But they have so many issues going on in that athletic department right now. From the basketball team, which looks like it's going to hit rock bottom again. We'll see what happens tonight against Wake Forest.
Hey, let me ask you this question, Jerry. Capel got passed over for the Duke job. I mean, I don't even know if he was even offered it when Krzyzewski stepped down. But if he was to take the Duke job, do you think he'd be better there than he is at Pitt, or do you think he'd fail there?
Oh, there's no question he'd be better. I mean, he has much.
Because he can recruit better.
And he doesn't even have to recruit at Duke. At Duke, the phone rings. You pick up the phone, and somebody, and the best player in the country says, "I want to come play for you." There isn't a whole lot of recruiting they have to do compared to what he has to do at Pitt. And I think definitely, and I think Jeff's a good coach. He's a good man, a good coach, knows the game. He's good for his kids. He's a little frustrated now, maybe a lot frustrated now about all the booing that's going on and the Fire Capel chants that are ringing out at the Peterson Event Center. Yeah. But he would definitely be he'd be a winner just like John Shire. And I think Shire's a great coach. I think Capel would be seen as a great coach in the same light because of the talent at his disposal. Let's face it, guys. And Smokin' Jim knows this. A coach is only as good as his players. And
that's true.
In the Pitt, at least this season, Jeff doesn't have the players. But he was at Duke. He would have them. I was watching Duke. I think it was last night. That looks like a team that has a good shot to win the national championship this year.
All right, we have one more question for you, Jerry. Smokin' Jim, if you want to add anything. The Pitt Panthers football schedule for 2026. You ready for this? They go to Virginia Tech to play Virginia Tech, and they get to see James Franklin. And then guess who comes to Acrisure Stadium? Well, both of them. The Boston College and also
Georgia Tech's coming.
Coming. And then North Carolina.
Florida State's at home game too.
Yeah, Florida State. Mike Norvell, and I heard that North Carolina we play.
Belichick will be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
The funny thing about the schedule, the football schedule, is they have 3 games that aren't on Saturday. Because 4 Saturdays during the season, one's a week.
Yeah.
So 2 Friday games. The ACC likes to play games on Friday. And Pitt has 2 of them, and then they have a Thursday night game, which is early in the season in September. I think it's the 3rd game of the year against Syracuse. It's an interesting schedule, but it doesn't end well for Pitt, I don't think. If you're close to getting into the championship game by finishing 1st or 2nd, if you're close, you got to go to Louisville and you got to go to California for the last 2 games of the season on the road in order to make that happen. And Pitt better build up a cushion before they get to that point, before they have to win 2 tough road games in order to get into the championship game.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Smokin' Jim, you have anything you want to add? Ask Jerry before we let him go.
No, great job, Jerry. Appreciate you coming on, sir.
All right.
My pleasure, gentlemen. I had a good time.
Thank you.
And you guys have a great night. And call me anytime, Ralph.
I will do that, Jerry. Thank you for being part of the program. And Jerry is brought to you by BigJim'sBikes.com in Ocean City, Maryland. Look, call Big Jim today. If you're going to Ocean City this year, Ocean City, Maryland, call him today. He has scooters. I'm in a wheelchair. I've rented scooters from Big Jim, and Big Jim is there 24/7, 7 days a week, all year long. Give him a call. He'll get somebody to come. He has 3 locations on the boardwalk, 410-289-1203 or BigJim'sBikes.com. Reserve your bike or scooter. He also has those bicycles you put 5 people on there and someone pedals. He has guys that'll pedal them for you. He also has motorized scooters and scooters for the handicap, like myself. If you're handicapped and you're going to Ocean City, Maryland, call Big Jim. He'll put one to the side for you. Tell him Ralph Williams sent you, and he'll take very good care of you. He's been taking care of me for years when I go to Ocean City. Now that I live near here, near Ocean City now, it's easier for me to deal with that. So, but BigJimsBikes.com is our sponsor for Jerry DePaula here. Jerry, thank you for being part of the program. You have yourself a great day.
Okay, Ralph.
And we'll have you back on again another time. Smokin' Jim, anything you want to add here?
No. Appreciate you, Jerry. Looking forward to checking you out on YouTube, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Next Monday, we'll be up next Monday with our next podcast.
All right, thank you, Jerry DePaula. Appreciate it. You have a great one. Thank you. Jerry DePaula, formerly of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Smokin' Jim, we're going to wrap it up. Closing thoughts. Go ahead.
I tell you, you are the booking machine. You get the best guests, man.
Thank you.
You know, Jerry just laid it out in all three sports, man, from football to college football to pit basketball to the Pirates to the Penguins.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get into that today a little bit too, because we haven't been able to get into that because of the Steeler head coaching job and, the NFL coaching as well. Smokin' Jim, we're down to 3 teams, Cleveland, Arizona, and the Las Vegas Raiders. And I heard today that Jim Schwartz had a second interview on Sunday, I believe, for the Cleveland Browns. Who's going to be in Arizona? Nobody knows. And the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't think they have any clue either. But I hear a story. They want to interview Clint Kubiak as soon as the Super Bowl's over. And I'm also hearing Chris Shula, or one of them, could possibly go to Arizona as well. Let me ask you this, Smokin' Jim, real quick. Why do you think the Steelers went the McCarthy way and didn't go the young coaching way this time around? Do you think Art Rooney II wanted to change the complexity of this thing? Or do you really believe that him and Omar Khan really wanted Mike McCarthy here to fix this up and get to the playoffs and maybe even to the Super Bowl? Go ahead.
Well, just real quick, I think that the Cleveland job is very appealing because they got a Pro Bowl quarterback.
That's what they were saying.
It's to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you got 2 opportunities. Either you start trading away pieces of your team and start rebuilding, and or you bring in somebody like Mike McCarthy, who is a proven winner. He's a 12-5 type coach, 12-5.
Yeah.
12-6 type coach. He's going to get you in the playoffs. He's going to change the offense, and he's going to bring in great coaches. And like Jerry said, Mike Tomlin's biggest downfall is he could not hire assistant coaches. I don't think he tried. You've been saying that for years. He went around him.
I said it
but
before.
Even more so, I think that he did not want his replacement to come from the staff. And I knew when they started talking about Flores, when Flores was on that staff, there was some grumblings that, hey, Flores should be the Steelers head coach. And I knew Mike Tomlin wasn't going to retain him at that point. He don't want to look over his shoulder. There's nobody on his staff that he had to look over his shoulder for that. And so it's going to be a different ball game with Mike McCarthy. And I think I got to give Rooney and Omar Khan credit for this particular hire.
Yeah, well, at least he's a name. At least we know who he is. We know what he's done. That's
174 wins.
Yes,
174 wins.
Yes,
and
yeah, and I think he can get this team over the top. It just needs, like I said, it's like a car. It needs some fine tuning. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be blown up, but it needs some fine tuning. All right, let's get into some announcements here of some shows coming up tomorrow. Here we go. The Ralph Williams Show on the Philadelphia 860 AM WWDB, the city of brotherly love. And get this, tomorrow and every 4th Wednesday of the month, live call-in show, and I will be live on WWDB's Facebook page. How about that for tomorrow? Huh? How about that? Yeah. Let me talk to you tomorrow. Call in tomorrow. be a part of the show, live call-in show every fourth Wednesday of the month on WWDB 860 AM. We have a lot to talk about tomorrow as well. And also don't forget tomorrow night at 7:30. Here we are. On our social media platforms, Kick Network, Twitter, X, YouTube, and Facebook. So we'll be on my channels tomorrow, 7:30. Ralph's Opinion, lots to talk about, including ICE and a whole lot of other stuff going on around our nation and around the world. That's tomorrow at 7:30, the Ralph's Opinion show. All right. Also, don't forget the Ralph Williams show on. All right, and this Saturday, I have the mayor of Slippery Rock coming on the show to talk about the progressives in Pittsburgh that I've been telling you about for years, and you haven't listened to me. I'm bringing people on that can talk about some of the damage that the progressives are doing. We'll talk about the city salt trucks and a whole lot more, city of Pittsburgh and more. And don't forget Sunday, the Ralph Williams show, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. As usual, my co-host on Sundays with me is Tony Moreno, the return of Tony Moreno. And don't forget Saturday. Yeah, the return of the Saturday sports show. So don't forget about that as well. Put all that on your calendar. Well, RW Media Productions in cooperation with the Sports Nuts and Pensman Sports, Brian Pettit and the Tiger Stripes Media. And we're growing. We're going to get there this year. And I will be on a station coming up real soon, public access radio station down in the Carolinas. I'm working on that as well. I will have further details on that. Don't forget February 8th. February 8th, I debut the Ralph Williams show, 8 a.m. on 620 a.m. WKHB in Pittsburgh. We got a lot to talk about. 3 times in the weekend, 3 slots that I have the Ralph Williams show. And then at 5 p.m., our second show, our new Sunday Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin, Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree. 5 p.m., 620 a.m. WKHB. I told everybody RW Media Productions is expanding. We're expanding everywhere. And it's going to be a great year for all of us. Smokin' Jim, thank you for being part of the show. Coming up next is Wrestle Talk. Until next week, until then, please, by all means, be safe and stay warm. Thank you.